Hello! In this video, we take a look at the Campaign Builder. The Campaign Builder starts exactly where your classical advertising campaigns stop. Do you invest a lot of time and money in advertising? But what happens with the prospects that view your campaign and don't buy your product instantly or use your services? You lost them. And since you need to have multiple contacts with your prospects until it comes to a sale, it makes sense to make a first contact through a trial offer or a small present and contact the prospect you want from time to time. Since this work is pretty difficult, and a lot of companies don't have the available resources for it, this is where the Campaign Builder of Infusionsoft comes into play. Let's take a closer look at the Campaign Builder and set up a new campaign and call it Crash Course Campaign. First, you select one or more sources of your campaign. Since you can set up any number of campaigns, you should not select too many sources at once in order to be able to differentiate where your new customers came from. The traffic sources have more of a symbolic character than a function and serve for orientation. Assuming you are calling attention to a starting offer through a YouTube video or a webinar, you select the matching sources for that. Next, you select a goal and connect your traffic sources with this goal. You have different goals to choose from. Which of these icons you choose has a symbolic character. The goal that is masked behind it is controlled over this little button at the goal. Some of these goals are self-explanatory if you saw the respective tutorial of this crash course. In a moment, we will talk about the different goals a little more detailed anyway. Let's start with a small web form with which your prospect should register on to receive their small gift. The particular goals are configured via double-click. You can model your web form with the drag-and-drop builder, which I will show you in a separate tutorial. A short example for this tutorial. You want to know the first and the last name as well as the email address of your prospect. Also, you are interested in the color he likes. When you label the radio buttons, you can define a tag that is assigned to the new contact so you know which color your prospect likes. In the tutorial about tags and scores, you already learned that you can define the tags in the CRM settings. You can create an individual thank you page via the drag-and-drop builder too. This thank you page appears after filling out your form. Here you can choose if you want to integrate the web form you created into your homepage via the source code provided here and advertise the link in your ad source, or if you want to make it easy for you and advertise the link provided by Infusionsoft. Furthermore, you can directly post this link in your social network. Don't forget to activate your created web form here, because otherwise it won't be available in your campaign. The module turns light green once it's configured and ready for publishing. It turns dark green later when the campaign is published and the module is active. Once your goal is reached, meaning your customer has sent your web form, you can start a sequence. If you generate new contacts, you should have them confirmed via the double opt-in process. Let's double-click to configure the sequence. If you want to, you can include a timer. The different timers are self-explanatory. You can contact your prospect after a certain amount of time, on a special date, or on his or her birthday. You can contact him via email, over an automated voice message, via fax, or via a classic letter. You can record a voice message via your own telephone. Enter the number from which you want to call your prospect. Now enter the number of the phone that you want to record your message on. and you will now receive an automated call from Infusionsoft where you can record your message.
You have reached the Infusionsoft message recording service. Please press 1 to get started. At the sound of the beep, please record your message. When you are finished, press the pound key.
A fax is easily configured too. Just enter up to 3 files that you want to send as a fax, for example, a picture file or a Word document. If you configure posting a letter in a sequence, it will be placed on the dashboard of one of your employees. Your employee just needs to print and send the letter you prepared. Of course, you can design an email via the drag and drop builder. For example, you can insert a link, and you can use fields from your contact records via the merge function for personal address, and don't forget to release your module. You can run other processes like the assignment of an opportunity, the placing of a tag, as well as other functions that you know from other lectures of this crash course automatically. It is important that you configure all modules and activate them if necessary until all icons are light green. You have to activate the recently set up sequence accordingly. This way it turns light green too and is ready for publishing. You can combine any number of goals and sequences and let your creativity run free. Some modules need other modules in advance. If you want to use the clicking of a link as a goal, there must be at least one email with one link in the sequence before it. In the email, you can then choose one or more links that lead to the fulfillment of the goal. Decide whether a sequence should run until the end or if it should be cancelled when a subsequent goal was already fulfilled. If you connect a module with 2 sequences, a decision node emerges where you can define exactly in which case which sequence should run. You can refer to some fields or to the tags of your contacts. You can set multiple conditions which must be met at once, or of which only one must be met. Let's have a closer look at the goals. There are goals that are met by the behavior of your contacts, and there are goals that are met through the behavior of your employees. Furthermore, there is the possibility to meet an Infusionsoft goal through the use of another provider via a computer interface, a so-called API. We already took a look at web forms and links. A landing page is kind of like an internet page that includes a web form. You can create it via the drag and drop builder. A goal can also be met when a customer reaches a certain amount of flames in the lead scoring tool or when his flames drop to a certain level. If a customer buys in your storefront, you can determine whether the goal is met when a random product is purchased or when your customer buys a certain product or that of a certain product group. Now to the goals that are triggered through your employees. The internal form functions like a web form, with the exception that it is filled out by your employees and not the contact itself on the internet. Assuming you want to capture a few features of the new contact when manually capturing a new contact, you set up a new internal form. Assign matching tags to the options that you offer. Once you set up and named the new form, it is available when setting up a new contact. If this form should be used by standard when setting up a new contact, you can define that in the CRM settings. Back to our goals in the Campaign Builder. The goal, complete a task, only works if you set up a task in a sequence before the goal. When your sales rep enters the completion date, in this task of your contact, the goal is met. Use the goal moves an opportunity. This way you can define whether your goal should be met when changing into or out of a certain sales stage. For the goal applies a note, you can deposit a note. Don't forget to name this module. Otherwise, it will be hard for your employees to match the template to this note. The template of this note that leads to the reaching of your goal your employees find when setting up a note in the pop-up menu, either in the quick navigation or in the contact itself. The goal applies a tag is met when the contact receives the tag you defined. It doesn't matter if the tag is assigned within a campaign or automatically via a web form, or if an employee of yours assigns the tag manually. To not lose the overview in complex campaigns, you can place notes at certain places. If you want to use values or terms within your campaign, for example in emails or web forms that you want to change from time to time without having to look for them and change them in all modules of your campaign, merge fields come in handy. Here you define a certain value and enter a description that you want to use in your campaign. If you want to change the value at any time, you change it here, and at the same time, it changes in all campaigns where you place the description. Let's have a look at that in practice. For this, we open the drag and drop email builder, open the merge fields, and find my new variable within the campaign fields. You can place it by placing the cursor at the respective place and by clicking on my description. If an email is sent, Infusionsoft will set the latest place value for the placeholder. When you are done with your campaign and all modules are configured, your campaign is ready for publishing. Click on Publish. The modules you configured start working just now. Lean back and let Infusionsoft do the work for you. All active modules appear dark green in the performance overview. They are also dark green in the edit mode. The blue number in the performance overview under Active shows how many contacts are active in your sequence, and the orange number shows how many contacts already reached the end of the sequence. Through the small icon at the top right, you can see the contacts that are active in the sequence as a list. The details, where in a sequence which contacts are, you can find out by double-clicking on the sequence. Under Historical, you can display how many of your contacts have gone through the respective modules. This way, you can easily see the marketing operation your contacts react to well and which they ignore. Before you implement the changes in your campaign, you can always save a version of your campaign and come back to it later if you are not convinced of the changes. Also, you can save a copy of your campaign if you need a second campaign similar to the current one. If you want to delete a campaign, you can easily select it in the campaign overview and delete it via Actions, Unpublish, and Delete. If you want to start or stop a certain sequence for certain contacts within one of your campaigns, you can do that via the contact list. If you want to, you can make a selection of your contacts for which you want to perform the following action. Under Actions, select Start/Stop a campaign sequence. Choose the campaign and sequence that you want to start or stop, and click on Process Action. Numerous Infusionsoft functions that you can also assign manually to multiple contacts at the same time are available to you under Actions. You already know some of these actions from the Campaign Builder or from another lesson of this crash course. All activities that Infusionsoft induces out of your campaign are placed with your contacts under Campaigns. You can access this both via the quick navigation as well as the contact itself. This way, you always have an eye on which information was already sent to your contact. Now you basically know how the Campaign Builder works. Be creative when setting up your campaigns. This way, you can communicate with your customers and lead them to a closed sale without them noticing that they are communicating with your Campaign Builder. This way, you use the full potential of your advertisement and give your customers the attention they deserve. Have fun setting up your own campaign, and until the next lesson of this crash course.